all day. Stop. I can't breathe. Stop. No.
Oh, boy, I think she's actually hurt.
No, I think she is.
Yeah, she's hurt. She took a hard fall off there.
Okay.
Gosh, I hope she's okay.
All right, good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. It's the DPD. My name is Jason Puckett. Puck, whatever you want to call me. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Please subscribe, leave a comment below. Also up at pucksports.com, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you're listening to this fabulous podcast. It is Wednesday, May 1st. We've transitioned into May. All right, welcome in. She wasn't okay, Frank. Does she look okay? The woman fell off a platform and injured herself as the Grape Lady brings you in to another fabulous edition of the Daily Puck Drop. Hashtag DPD. If you're just joining us for the very first time, where have you been? We've been here. We're rocking and rolling. We do this every single day, Monday through Friday, 25, 30 minutes, where we just kind of riff on the top stories of the day in the world of sports. And, of course, we end our show every day with What the Puck. All right, where we look at funny stories across the world, sports, non-sports. Hey, if you want to send in a story, okay, go to pucksports.com, go to the contact tab, and up there, and you can just simply email me, puck@pucksports.com. Send me something. I had a couple of listeners send me some stories. Also, voicemails. We're doing voicemails. I got a few, but we do them on Fridays. So, again, just like old school like we used to do. Now, again, you've got to email the audio. I had a couple of people just write them in. Here's my voicemail. I'm not going to read them on the DPD. I want to play them. Okay, so it's a little bit of work for you. All you got to do is pick up that little smartphone of yours. Okay, you all have one. No one's got a flip phone anymore. But if you do, by the way, if you actually do have a flip phone, can you please send a picture of the flip phone and tweet it to me, okay, on social media at Puck2040, 2040. Send it there. I'd like to see if you actually still have a flip phone, because I think Klay Thompson still has a flip phone for some reason. But wouldn't it make it easier in a way? Just texting and calling, you got to worry about everything else. So none of you have one. If you do, send a picture in. You probably have a burner phone. But on your smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android phone, you have a recording device on there, a voice recorder. Record 30, 40 seconds right there. And then on the contact tab, just send an MP3. Just send that to puck@pucksports.com, and we'll play them. And we'll do it. I'm going to try. But the hope is with the voicemails to do them every single Friday at the end of the Daily Puck Drop. We got a few in there, some familiar voices, and we've had some familiar characters return from the old radio show. All right, here we go. The Daily Puck Drop, the DPD. We try to get through this as fast as we can, but then I ramble about certain stuff, so that's me. We got the M's. We got some news on the NBA media rights deal. That's good news there for the Sonics. I've got a quick soundbite from John Canzano from his appearance on Tuesday's podcast. I want to touch in on the NBA one more time, on the NFL and their schedule. And we've got an update from Fisher Plumbing, Ballard Little League. And, of course, finally, we always wrap up with What the Puck is our daily just kind of weird look at stories across the world of sports and non-sports. All right, you want to start with the M's? No, you know what? Before we start with the M's, let's start with really the most important thing from last night. We're 1-0. We're 1-0 on hashtag Bet M's under. Hashtag Bet Under Summer. Hashtag Bet. No, what was the other hashtag I came up with? Oh, Under Un-American, which it is. It is un-American to bet the under. But you know what? These guys can't score, but neither can the other team. So all summer long, all baseball season long, I am betting the under on the Mariners every single night. And it's not a bunch of money, like $5. But I'm going to just track this all year long. And at the end, going to see how much that I can wager and how much I can win on just a stupid $5 bet. And really just want to see what my record is going to be. I use the DraftKings Sportsbook app, okay? Big shout out, DraftKings Sportsbook app. That's the app I use. So when you're looking for the runs, the total runs for every Mariners game, use the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and then you can find it there. So for today's day game on Wednesday, it's 7. That's just gravy. What do you think the Mariners are going to score? 2? 3? What are the Braves going to score? The Braves scored 3 runs in the series total, and they were the number 1 offense coming in. Now, you would think that in the third game they would break on through, but I'm gonna still this is the long play, folks. Okay, can't overreact to 1 or 2 games in a row. This is the long play for bet M's under, bet under un-American, bet. What was the other one? Bet summer under Mariners. All right, so we're off to a 1-0 start. Day game Wednesday. It's time to go 2-0. DraftKings Sportsbook over-under for today's game is 7. Got Chris Sale, 3-1 with a 3.69 ERA going up against a right-hander, Emerson Hancock, who's 3-2 with a 5.06 ERA. Give me a second listening on the podcast. Those watching, you just saw that sip of coffee. I need my morning caffeine hit. Hancock has allowed 4 earned runs in his last 18 innings. He's really only just had the 1 bad start, by the way. That's it. So his ERA has ballooned because of 1 bad start. But 4 earned runs in the last 18 innings. This offense for the Braves has done nothing against this pitching staff. By the way, best record in baseball, the best offense in baseball. They've been held to 3 earned runs in the 2 games. They're, again, number 1 runs per game, number 2 in Major League Baseball in batting average, number 2 in on-base percentage, number 3 in slugging, number 2 in OPS. And this pitching staff has just absolutely cut their nuts off in these first 2 games. They've just killed them. They've absolutely hamstrung them. And, I was thinking about it because I'm guilty of this as well. I just start focusing in on, oh my God, they're only getting 4 hits. They're only getting 5 hits. They need more offense. And I still believe that because we're going to make a plea here to John Staton here in a moment. But you know what? As I kind of coach Little League, and you know what's sexy sometimes is really good pitching and really good defense. And that's kind of been lost a little bit in baseball. It feels like, the real emphasis on baseball and the rule changes and the things that they have done has tried to make it to where you score more runs. It's not unlike any other sport, right? What does the NFL do? The NFL wants it to more scoring. So we're going to make it easier for the offense to score. We're going to make it easier on the quarterback. NBA is the same thing. We're going to call the game a different way. Fans love points and runs and offense. It's sexy. We don't like good defensive battles. We generally don't like a 13-10 football game or, a game in the NBA in which it doesn't include a bunch of threes or it's under 100 points. I was watching, Inside the NBA the other day and they were showing highlights from a game like 15 years ago. And the final was like 90-87, and Barkley and Shaq and Kenny were just laughing like, 90-87. But yeah, I mean, there was a day where it wasn't all just about offense. And the same can be held true here for baseball. There used to be a day and age when I was growing up and you were growing up, if you're, late 30s, 40s, whatever, that 2-1 games, 3-2 games, 2-0 games, that was common. It wasn't all this explosion of home runs and scoring. They are a throwback in that manner. They very much are, because their pitching is just stupid good. All of them. Are they going to be able to keep this up? Well, no. I mean, they have extended their franchise record of 2 earned runs or fewer in 18 consecutive outings. I'm going to repeat that again. Just let that marinate right now as you sit there and drink your coffee, having lunch. You're on your break right now, wherever you are. I'm envisioning someone eating a ham sandwich right now, you hobo, and sucking on a heater right now at your lunch break. All right, let this marinate as you take a drag on that Marlboro Red. And they've extended a franchise record of 2 earned runs or less in 18 consecutive outings. That is just stupid. That's stupid. We knew that this pitching staff was World Series caliber, but they are, to see the progression. Gilbert's kind of maintained himself. Kirby has righted the ship. So has Castillo. Castillo's back, by the way. 3-1 with a 1.38 ERA in his last 4 outings. He's holding opponents to a batting average of 173. So the Rock's back. He's fine. Miller took that next step. Bryce Miller took that next step. Hancock has held down the fort. Wu is coming back. It is, for all the angst that we have, and I still have it, about them not addressing their offense and finding free agents and being able to hit on that. They just continue to hit with starting pitching. They have done a masterful job of drafting guys, developing guys, and it's just not the starters. It's also the guys in the bullpen. They just continue to find guys in the bullpen who are always good. It is really a head scratcher at times why that evaluation process that they have does not carry over to the offensive side. But what they're doing right now, pitching wise, it's breathtaking. I mean, I'm kind of out of words for it, watching it every single night. And it's laughable that they get, I think they ended up getting, 7 hits last night. They don't score a lot of runs. They rally late. You know, for the most part, they've played pretty good defense. Not great defense, but pretty good defense. But the pitching has just been so great that they kind of have made up maybe for some defensive miscues. Like last night. I mean, Munoz, that's a tough play. I mean, you got to get runner at third. Probably some miscommunication there between Cal Raleigh. You know, I think Raleigh said after the game, I should have told him to eat it. You hear that all the time in Little League. Eat it, eat it. They still do that. You think that's ever uttered in a major league game? Eat it. Like, yeah, all you parents out there that have been involved in Little League, whether it's baseball, softball, whatever it is, how many times do you think, if you've gone through that Little League years, have you heard the word eat it? I think we must say it a million times a game. Eat it, eat it. Not your pitch. Not your pitch, Johnny. Don't worry about it. Hey, Billy, you keep throwing that pitch. That's a good pitch. Yeah, that's a strike. Good pitch. We'll have an update on Ballard Little League. I'll have to make an apology coming up on our Ballard Little League Fisher Plumbing update. But their offense, it doesn't need to be much. And again, last night it wasn't much. Polanco with the 2-run home run. Good to see him kind of getting back, to what he was in the past when they acquired him. Dylan Moore had the RBI double. So there's the good, but still is the bad with this. 11 strikeouts, they stranded 7 runners. They're making it more difficult on themselves than it should be. But thanks to their thanks to their pitching staff, it's just they are a World Series, not caliber, pitching staff. They are a World Series champion pitching staff. There is zero debate about that. That is the best starting pitching staff in baseball. And frankly, I don't even think it's close in terms of the guys that they can throw out there every single night. And the performance they're getting right now is just absolutely remarkable. But their high leverage situations are pressure packed every single night. And that's where the offense needs to come in and help them out a little bit, because they will not be able to continue kind of that stretch. I don't think they're going to revert back to where they were in the first week of the season when they were kind of really, really bad. They're not going to do that. But they're not going to be this where they're going, 18 consecutive innings, allowing 2 earned runs or less. All right, so here is my plea. And maybe you'll watch this. I'm hoping you will. You say that you're a big baseball fan. Maybe someone will just say it will pass this podcast along to you, John Staton. I know we've had our problems. I'm talking right into you, sir. Listeners, I'm staring right into the camera. YouTube people, I know we're viewers, and pucksports.com, I'm probably creeping you out. But it's just John and I right now. John, just me and you. Okay? Let me take a sip of my mug, number 1 dad mug. It's just you and I talking, Johnny. You're a baseball fan. You grew up. You love the sport. You've got $1 billion sitting in the bank account. Chris Larson's got money too. Your whole ownership staff's got money. You're making money every single year. Please, John, please, you and me. It's Puckett. For the love of God, please spend at the deadline. If you have to pay for a contract for a player and not give up a top prospect, please do it. This is the year to do it, bud. This is the year. Please don't waste the greatest starting staff right now in baseball. Don't waste it. Yeah, you're going to lose some money this year, probably. You're going to take a hit in the pocketbook, okay? The wallet's going to be a little bit lighter. I envision you still, like my dad used to have the old leather wallet. I envision that you still have that in your back pocket, okay? Okay, when you sit down on it and it kind of puts a little crink in your ass, and it won't be that bad because you've taken some money out of it, but you're going to make up all of it in the postseason, all of it for a World Series championship. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whoever you trade for at the deadline and take on that contract because some team's out of it and say, oh, we don't want to overpay for that guy. He's got another year or two left in his contract. Doesn't matter. Just do it. Do it because you'll make up for it. People will, in droves, will head to that ballpark and will walk through those turnstiles and spend so much money there if you just go out at the deadline for once and be aggressive. Let Dipoto and Hollander just go out and get more offense. If you don't, and you look at this team and go, well, we're winning now, we'll be fine. You won't. Just go out and do it. Don't waste it. If you say, and I'll believe you, that you're a huge baseball fan, that you want nothing more than to win a championship. Okay, I'll take it your word. Then show it. Prove it. Because I would say, and I think a lot of people right now, John, would agree with me. They don't think you've done it. You haven't shown it yet. You got to show it. You got to open it up. You got to tell the group, hey, we continue down this road. This is an opportunity to go win the whole damn thing. You owe it to Julio Rodriguez. You owe it to Mitch Haniger. You owe it to Cal Raleigh. You owe it to all those guys. Too many times last few years we've gotten into this deadline, John, and we're just giving up players. And we keep hearing, well, this makes us, this, stabilizes us now, but in the long run, we're looking ahead to 25 and 26. There's no more looking ahead. It is now. It is go time now, John. It's now time to spend the money. I don't know who's going to be available. Hollander doesn't know. Dipoto doesn't know. You don't know. None of us know. But somebody is going to be available. And there's going to be likely a price tag to that guy in addition to a prospect, but there might be a guy or two out there that some team just wants to salary dump. They just like you did with Marco Gonzalez and just like you did with Jared Kelenic and all those guys. You dump their salary. It's time to go and reinvest in it. But go big, not a minor move. You got to go big. There are holes in this lineup all over the place. And they need at least two players that can help this team. And if you do it, and they go win the whole thing because that starting staff is the best in baseball and a World Series champion staff. Doesn't matter what you do. You will be a hero. You'll be carried on the shoulders of fans down First Avenue, celebrating a World Series championship because that's how good that staff is. You know who you owe it to the most? You. You're the owner. That's who you owe it to the most. You owe it to yourself, John Staton, to spend as much money as you can at the deadline. To tell Jerry Dipoto and Hollander, if you can acquire a guy and they have some hefty contract, so be it. Go do it. Go be aggressive. Let those guys be aggressive. Okay, I'm done. John, thanks for listening. Hey, John, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify, also Amazon, YouTube Music. I'm not sure if you have an Android or iPhone. Real popular on Apple on the iPhone, by the way. You Android users, I'm not sure what you like the most, but you hit me up at at pucksports.com. You can email me, contact@tab at pucksports.com. Let me know. And if the podcast if your preferred method of listening is not listed, let me know. YouTube, but John, you look like an iPhone guy, but maybe like my mom who doesn't know really quite how to use it. Apple Podcasts, #1 spot. Spotify. I actually love Spotify. Spotify to me is kind of my preference. But John, just like and subscribe. And John, leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. Let's engage on the YouTube comments below. Let's go transition over to Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime Video has the framework right now of a streaming deal with the NBA. That is great, great, great news for who? Future home of your Seattle Supersonics. Why? Well, who is the CEO of Amazon? That guy, it's not Bezos, he stepped down. That guy's name is Andy Jassy. How do I know? Well, I think the checks that my wife gets from them has his name on it. But Andy Jassy is the CEO of Amazon. He's also the minority owner of the Seattle Kraken. And we all know that the Kraken ownership group is going to be a part of the Sonics ownership group. Why? Because they also own the building. They want to keep everything under one roof. All of it. So the fact that Amazon Prime, led by CEO Andy Jassy and, of course, Jeff Bezos, based out of Seattle, is now primed to step in, and they are going to get the streaming deal with the NBA is only great news for the future of the NBA and the Sonics. I still think there's people out there that feel like it's not going to happen. It is going to happen. And we've got a date. 2025-2026 season. That's when it's going to happen. The 25-26 season. How do I know? Well, if you go find it anywhere, just search Amazon Prime deal NBA. Everyone's written about it. Front Row Sports, Washington Post, The Athletic, actually. Andrew Marchand's got a great story at The Athletic on it. You can go read. It includes significant regular season and postseason games and conference finals, by the way, on Amazon Prime, because there's going to be a three-headed kind of deal, TV media deal with the NBA. Amazon Prime is going to be the streaming service. They'll go back to ESPN and ABC, and then the third one will be, I think, some competition right now between NBC and then Warner Brothers and TNT. Whatever they do, I hope TNT, at least that crew, is a part of it. I think we all agree we want the Barkley and that whole crew to be a part of it moving forward. Why do I know when the Sonics are coming back? Because the contract is believed, according to Andrew Marchand at The Athletic, believed to begin in the 25-26 season. That's when it's supposed to be happening. That's when the Sonics are coming back. That's when the NBA returns, is the 25-26 season. So we got to wait, one more season, unfortunately. And then that's when Vegas will likely come. The deal is for a decade. Again, ABC and ESPN are supposed to keep the NBA Finals. But I think we finally, not officially, and maybe things can change. Maybe it can be sooner. I don't think it can be by next season. I think we're running out of time for that one. But the 25-26 season, Andrew Marchand has the story. Amazon Prime Video's got the framework of a deal, streaming service with the NBA. It's believed to be for a decade long, starting in the 25-26 season. We've heard all along, all the reports have always been, they're not going to announce expansion until they have that new media rights deal. And Andrew Marchand put it down on The Athletic, that date. That's when it's going to happen. All right. John Canzano joins me every Tuesday on the L podcast. If you watch it on YouTube, you can subscribe to it. Please like and comment. And then, of course, it's on Apple and Spotify, wherever you find your podcast as well. Now, Johnny, and I don't really agree with him on this one, because I think it's a little too low, but he laid it out. We went through on the podcast, which is brought to you by Zeke's Pizza. Shout out to Zeke's Pizza. We went through the entire schedule yesterday there for the Huskies and went game by game, pocket schedule. It's an old school radio thing, and we just brought it here to the digital platform. And John had this to say about what he thinks the Huskies will be here in 2024.
I feel pretty good about that prediction. Yeah. They win one, they lose one, they drop at Rutgers. I don't. But it's 7-5. That's year one.
Is that a good first year for Jed Fish?
It's enough in year one. The question is it enough to move the needle for the NIL collective? Will people give? Will the enthusiasm from his hiring and kind of when everyone pushing, what enthusiasm they could muster, will it continue with 7 wins? Okay. And some of that's going to be up to Fish managing expectations. But I think if they have that 4-0 or 5-0 start, that might be enough, Puck, where, they get enough momentum, people feel good enough, and they go, hey, right about the time they're losing to Oregon, and that's going to be a big game for Oregon given the last 3 meetings. Yeah. Oregon's just got.
So he's got the Huskies going 7-5 in their first year there in the Big Ten. Now, I would just ask, and you Husky fans can respond here, definitely in the comments section on YouTube, would that be a disappointment? See, I don't think it would be. I think that is kind of reality. But I think, and we all have those fan-colored glasses, right? Minor Cougar colored glasses. And so if I were probably sitting in maybe a Husky fan's shoes or in the chair, I would say 7-5. That's terrible. That's awful. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's awful. I do think there's some games I probably disagree with them. I mean, I think the first part of the season starts off really well for them. I think we all agree Weber State's a win, Eastern Michigan's a win. Cougs, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know how good we are or we are not good. It all depends on the quarterback. And my favorite, the John Mateer fan club. I think that could be a toss-up in Seattle. I think that game is going to be real. There's going to be a lot of animosity in that game. I'll say win for now. But I think that one is kind of a 50-50 game. So 3-0 after that. Northwestern at home, that's a win, 4-0. They go at Rutgers, that's a win, that's 5-0. So the 5-0. And John's got him at 7-5. So after a 5-0 start, he has them falling apart. There's Michigan at home, at Iowa, at Indiana, USC at home, at Penn State, UCLA, at Oregon. So probably Michigan loss. At Iowa's a loss. Indiana's a win. He's got USC being a loss, at Penn State being a loss, and then at Oregon being a loss. Now, I don't disagree with much. I think the USC game, I think the USC game was the one I disagreed with the most. I don't know who they're going to have playing quarterback. I say they win the USC game, so that would give them 4 losses. So that because it's at home, I'll chalk it up as a win for them. In a weird way, I'm gonna say that the real pivotal game will be Michigan. It's at home. Revenge from last year. There's some guys that are still on the team. Maybe they get that one. I could see 3 or 4 losses. I don't think 5. So I guess maybe we're not that far off. And then the Oregon one, I'll just say this: it's in Eugene. It's a different staff, so Dan Lanning doesn't have to deal with Kalen DeBoer anymore. But he still has a Washington problem. He hasn't figured them out, but it's a different staff now. That was more of a DeBoer thing than necessarily a Jed Fish thing. So I don't know. 7-5. By the way, he's got Oregon going 11-1. And before you sit there and go, he's an Oregon homer. Do you know what Oregon fans say about him? That he's a homer for the Beavers. So the guy, he can't win. But I think the biggest question marks for the Huskies are this. Offensive line's their biggest question mark, right? Do they potentially have 5 new guys? Can Will Rogers be the guy? He was the guy under Mike Leach's system. Under the air raid he was. When they went to a more of a pro-style offense this past year, he was not good. Now, how can Jed Fish kind of mirror those two? And then can they translate to the Big Ten? It's bigger. It's physical. More talented players. Can Jed Fish carry that over his style of play into that? We'll find out. We will definitely find out. I was going to touch on the NFL going to 18 games. I don't know. We briefly touched on it yesterday. Football's football. They're going to play that damn sport year round. Ballard Little League update. Fisher Plumbing, real quick. Boy, the boys a tough one yesterday. it was kind of, there were some good and bad moments from this game. Here's the good moment. We pitched a young man who had pitched one time before. He's real talented, but he's just wild. And we started him, and he pitched great. He pitched great. He ended up giving like 5 runs, but 3 of them were earned. Shout out to my guy Nico. Nico's not listening to this. Maybe his parents are, but I love Nico to death. And uber talented kid. He's just only going to get better, but kept us in it. We got down 9-0 after 3 innings. So if they score a couple more after 4, if we were down, which game's over, right? If people don't know, the mercy rule in Little League is 15 after 3 and then 10 after 4, 8 after 5. So we're like, oh yeah, please, just can we not get mercied? Please. My guy Zach came in, relieved Nico, nails. Then he was nails for 2 innings. Then the vampire comes in, the little short kiddo, and he's nails. So those two lock it down. We rally to score 11 runs to win the game, 11-9. And these boys, they never got down. They never complained. They never were screaming in the dugout and mad and all of that. They stayed focused, and we were so proud of them. They never got down on themselves. They got a couple of hits together. They started picking each other up, being great teammates, great friends, and they rallied to win 11-9. Pitching was just nails all game long, and it was awesome. Awesome to see. Great play to end the game, playing third base. We had just a hot, chopper fielded by the vampire like he's Geno Suarez over there, and making a throw all across the field to get the final out. It was great. It was fun. Now, the bat. I was that guy yesterday, and I'm apologizing to all of you umpires out there. Matt is one of our great umpires in the Ballard Little League, and we were kind of arguing with him in the beginning of the game, and it was stupid over a dumb rule that I didn't know, but I was that guy. I was that guy yesterday, which I vowed never, ever to be. Because we have a bunch of guys that are good little baseball players, so they love doing the little deke with the glove, like they pretend like the ball, like they're tagging. Now, when I was growing up playing, that's all we did. We did that all the time to try and fake people. Unbeknownst to me that now is a rule where you cannot do it in Little League. And I don't even think you can do it anywhere now. But God, we used to do that all the time. And I don't ever remember this being called. And it's obstruction now. Many of you probably out there know that. I was adamant that it's not a rule, and argued with Matt, our home plate umpire. And he's like, it's a rule. But I was being so stupid and obnoxious about it that I apologized to Matt afterwards, sent him an email, called him, all that kind of stuff. So don't be me. Don't be that guy, Little League coach. Don't be what I was last night. And to all you guys that volunteer your time and your effort, you umpires out there, we need more of you. Godspeed you. Thank you so much for all you do. But if you're a coach like me who made a mistake and disagreed with somebody, and you knew, and then you find out you were wrong, just apologize. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. And we left on good terms too. And I mean, Matt was great. He was so nice to me and all that. And I just said, hey man, I'm sorry. You were right. I was completely wrong. Didn't mean to challenge you about it. But that's the update there from the Ballard Little League Fisher Plumbing. I shot to Fisher Plumbing. Our golden plunger broke last night in celebration, so now we're trying to put that thing back together. All right, last couple of things. Hey, what the puck as we end the daily puck drop, the DPD. Hey, what the puck as we look around the world of sports, non-sports, for just weird stories. Listen, a couple of things. One, that was the best, worst fight I've ever seen in baseball last night between the Rays and the Brewers. Go check it out on social media at Puck2040. These two guys, never landed a punch. They were slapping each other like a couple of school kids. It was awful. It was the worst fight I have ever seen in Major League Baseball. They should just not, once these guys start duking up, just go at each other and throw punches and throw some haymakers. This is why it's just not part of the sport. Can you imagine hockey players watching that fight last night just laughing? What else do we have? Did you see the Arizona Beekeeper Anybody watch the Diamondbacks Dodgers game on Tuesday? The game was delayed for about 2 hours. And they had to call because of bees. There's a bunch of bees. There's a huge bee problem in Arizona at this time of year. So they have a local beekeeper to the Diamondbacks. Like, apparently he's on call. And they had to call him, and his name is Matt Hilton. He's a local beekeeper, and he came to the rescue. The game was delayed for about 2 hours. Matt Hilton gets a call on his cell phone. He knows it's the Diamondbacks because he does some work for him because he's been there before to get the bees away. They were all surrounded there on home plate, behind the netting on home plate. He was at his son's Levi's last T-ball game, where Matt Hilton was. So he got the call. He's at his kid's T-ball game. He says, how fast? They're like, how fast can you be here? He's like, well, I'm in Surprise, Arizona. And I think the drive from Surprise, Arizona to downtown Phoenix is about 45 minutes. He gets in his car. He drives down there. He arrives about 70 minutes or so after first pitch. He comes into a hero's welcome. He's like a cult figure. You got to watch this video. It's unbelievable. And people are cheering him on. He's pumping up the crowd. He's in his beekeeper's uniform. He sprays him, paralyzes him, whatever, and gets him out of there. And then the Diamondbacks ask him to come out and throw out the first pitch. Unbelievable. What a great story. Go check it out. Shout out to Matt Hilton and the D-backs, local beekeeper turned hero. Lastly, here on What the Puck, we told you the story yesterday. Eric Johnson retiring after 39 years at KOMO News. What a long, great career for Eric. We are going to tape with Eric on Thursday. We're going to tape a segment with Eric, and it should be fun. Kind of reflect on his career, his time starting off in sports, jumping around from Spokane to Portland to Seattle, working with what I call the best crew in the history of television, and that being, of course, along with himself, Bruce King, Kathy Gertson, Dan Lewis, and Steve Poole. And he's a Coug, and he likes to frequent the watering hole that I like to frequent. So I can't wait to check in with Eric Johnson. That will be coming out probably on Thursday, maybe on Friday. All right, that's it. That's the DPD, the Daily Puck Drop. We appreciate it. Kind of a long one today. Thank you. Please subscribe there on YouTube. Please leave a comment. Also on all of the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast, please, it helps us immensely to leave a rating, and please leave a comment if you can. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, we promise to be back.
No shoes, no dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!